but the logo of Card Expo Africa has this smart card sitting right on Nigeria. Does that mean Nigeria is the smartest of them all?
Yes.
I don't know, but I said I'm going to try it. And this is a discussion about EMV. You know, it used to be called smart cards. I'd like to share a short presentation on EMV and EMV implementation in the country. And what we are doing to address the issue, a small part, but albeit an important small part of the card or e-payments business. I think the previous two speakers have mentioned two interesting items. One was the identity element that Mr. Alade-Como pointed out, which means that next time I meet Femi Williams, I will have to check and make sure him. And the other thing was about the effect of fraud on cardholders. Essentially, when you're dealing with an emerging industry, Nigeria has only of the access to banking, and within that banking community, we even have a small slice that are exposed to e-payments. Now, if you somehow used your card and then discovered that you only took 10% of the balance, and a few days later you learned that the account has been emptied, you begin to wish that you should have listened to grandma and kept your money under the mattress. We even have a source to e-payments. Now, if you somehow used your card and then discovered that you only took 10% of the balance, and a few days later you learned that the account has been emptied, you begin to wish that you should have listened to grandma and kept your money under the mattress. Quite interesting that it is the regulators that are pushing for it. I was expecting the cardholders to be pushing for it, the customers, because it would have even been the velocity of change would have been quite higher if it is customer that is saying, I don't want your card, I would rather go and get the EMV card. Unfortunately, it is the awareness of the market that has slowed it down. So in that regard, we are at fault. I should be held responsible for not coming out and screaming out loudly before. But at any fora that I find myself in, I usually share the benefits of EMV. And then people that have attended those forums would end up not listening to that word of caution. I don't know if any one of you here has had an incident, fraudulent incident, whether directly on your account or someone you know that had an issue with their card transactions in Nigeria. The rampant nature of fraud in the system is such that I can point to 5, 6 people that I know that have personally been hit by fraudsters. We have what we call truly EMV cards, and they are not ours. They belong to Visa, right? Magnetic stripe cards. But the beauty of it is that it's not just the card with your name and card number that matters and the expiration date. You have to flip the other side of the card. Does it have a CVV2 panel, or MasterCard calls it CVV? Those are 3-digit codes assigned that would help in 2-factor authentication. But that means that the person has the card, so they can do card not present transaction. But the person could steal my card and have that as well. In Value Card, or in Nigeria, all the Visa cards have what we call ICVV implementation on the chip. But in addition to that, we have enabled the customer to have 2 kinds of pins. One's the regular ATM pin, 4 digits, and the other one that you can actually obtain from your ATM, any Visa accepting ATM, is a 6-digit I pin. This is a pin that you use online. So it's another factor that you can use in authenticating the transaction. IPIN is only known to you. We also implement a solution whereby the IPIN, or the passcode, can be generated dynamically and SMSed to you. That is for the person who feels that these 2 are not sufficient and they want to go one up on it. However, that is something that the bank and us need to discuss and implement. Now, if you have cards that are EMV and the devices are not, then you're leaving a huge hole for fraudsters. So if you, I tell some friends that come from abroad who are staying in Nigeria to use their Visa cards with confidence, because all the Visa accepting devices in Nigeria are truly EMV and are PET certified, and are actually it's safer to use your cards in this market than it is, say, in the US or in Europe. And I say this with all sense of honesty. Well, I'm trying to be humble, but I can't. We have put the entire network in Nigeria EMV. And when the discussions came, when Visa first showed up about 4 years ago, Nigeria is not such a pretty name to them. But they have actually, during the implementation, they found out that we are resolutely driven by providing the best in the world. And they've given up on us, meaning they have now completely agreed that this is the only market in the world where 100% of the devices are EMV Level 2 certified. So, whichever channel you go through, you should have confidence if you're using a Visa card. I cannot say about others. What are the things we should be worried about? Of course, April 1 is the deadline. I saw something in the papers yesterday that said June 1. I don't think so. I think it's April 1. If a bank has been issued magnetic stripe card in May, they are violating the CBN regulations. My concern is lack of enforcement. What are the consequences? And that is the critical thing that could happen, is the card holders going back and saying, I don't want it, or go to some other alternative channels. Banks are slow in making changes, but banks know where to rush. A friend of mine says, whenever you see a banker if you see a banker jumps out of a 10-story building, follow him or her. There is money down there. but banks know where to rush. A friend of mine says, whenever you see a banker if you see a banker jumps out of a 10-story building, follow him or her. There is money down there. So it's really a thing that they should embrace and push. There is some costs, but the cost of losing the customer is even higher. Potential huge income leakages, brand damages, these you cannot replace. Anything that happens to your institution, I mean, the one brand that today was enhanced by our MC is Charms. She said everybody was into customer service, including the MD. And he had to demonstrate to us that the customer service is right there, right? And in reality, if we do not adhere to it, we may end up having a different kind of meltdown, e-payment meltdown. So I say we need to have rapid adoption and full compliance to EMV principles, not just chip and pin. My friends, chip and pin is just one element of EMV. It's not enough. Ask the question that I have shared with you. Does it have CVV2? Does it have a different authentication factor? Etc., etc. Risk managers in financial institutions may need to begin to come front and be part of the driving, go into the cockpit basically. I know that risk, in my days in banking, we could call them business killers. Fortunately for them, now they've got their own central bank governor. So we need to pay attention to risk management. And in all honesty, it can be a proactive element in implementing your card programs. And of course, background checks on employees and so on and so forth. Thank you very much.